Hey.
Wow.
How are you?
Hang on for a second here. Let me make sure I'm in focus.
Bertha.
All right. Let me make sure You clean up. Nuts.
Huh?
Whoever knew you'd ever look like this? I thought I was going to see a burly guy come walking out. Big burly guy with a big beard.
I'll plead guilty to burly.
Look at you. You look great.
Well,
Good for you.
You know, I take this stuff seriously.
You really are, man. You are taking this very seriously.
Very seriously.
How you been?
I'm good. How you doing?
What's happening?
You're what's happening, man.
Well, I realize that, but
what's going on around here?
What about the in business?
This is a funny story actually, because the last time you picked me up at my house,
yep,
we were going out to the March of Dimes thing. You were going to put me in jail out at the Nantucket Inn when we were doing the TV show.
Right.
And I was remodeling my whole kitchen. I'm now remodeling my whole kitchen again. And I just walked out of a complete construction site in my kitchen, exactly like it was 8 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Or something. It's really weird.
So now what do you do here? You run the inn?
My wife and I run it, yep. The owner is a wonderful woman named Sylvia Griggs. She lives in Colombia, Bogota, Colombia.
Oh, wow.
She's a school teacher.
Is she Colombian?
No, she's from Boston.
Live there?
Well, she's a really interesting person. She's an old, like...
It's a dangerous place.
Yeah, but she's an old, like, Peace Corps type, you know?
Yeah.
And she taught for years and years at this really schmancy private school outside of Boston.
Right.
And she called me up one day and she said, I got to get back to the real people and the real world and everything else, in the third world. And, a couple weeks later, she said, well, I signed a contract to go teach in Colombia. I'm moving to Bogota. And a couple years later, she said, I'm buying a place here. I love it here. I'm staying here. She's 65 years old. She's about 5 feet tall. She gets more done before breakfast than I do in a whole day. It's amazing.
Yeah. Some people are like that.
And she's very, very good to Lisa and myself. She's a great boss. And
yeah.
Lisa's been in the house since '91, and then we just celebrated 10 years together.
That's great, man.
Yeah. It's a good job. And it's a job, Gino.
Well,
that gives me the flexibility and the time to do the job, the task at hand.
Good, because that's my first question. Yeah. Why is it that you want to run?
For selectman, well, you've known me a long time,
yeah,
and you know that I've always been really interested in town politics, town government. You know how I feel about my community. I love this community. It's given me a lot. It's been good to my family. I have 4 generations of my family living here now, from my parents to Lisa's grandkids, and I want to give something back to the community. And we're really at a crossroads right now, and a lot of the decisions we're going to be making are going to have very long-term implications, and we've got to start thinking about the long term. And I think I can help. I do. I think there are a lot of different voices need to be part of the discussion about where we want to go, and I'd like to help facilitate that as well.
How do you think the current board's doing, and what kind of grade would you give them?
What kind of grade? I would give them an incomplete, because I think that there are some good things going on the board, and there are some things I would certainly do differently. I'm assuming you want to hear more about what I would do differently than what the current board does.
Well, I'd like to also hear what they're doing good.
Sure. Well, I think that when you have a government body like the Board of Selectmen, the process is very important. How things get decided, how things get discussed is very important, and I'd like to see that process be a little more open. I think there's an expediency that maybe doesn't quite allow for a full discussion of issues sometimes. I think they don't talk about things as much as they used to. And if there was ever a time that we need to have a discussion about these decisions, I think it's now. I also think that we need to bring a lot of new blood and new ideas into the government, on commissions and boards and things like that. I was at a Shellfish Association meeting a couple weeks ago, and I met this guy who had just moved here, retired, and he was a scientist of some sort, and he'd spent his career in a corporate science environment. And he just moved here. He was so excited about being here. And he was like, I'm looking for something to do. I need a project. I want to work on something, get my teeth into something, you know. I want to help, whatever, you know. And geez, these are the kind of people we need to be reaching out to. You know, give them something to do, put them to work. They're, you know, reaching out to expertise. You know, the Board of Selectmen can only know so much. You know, they need input from a lot of different viewpoints and a lot of different kinds of expertise. So I'd like to see them being a little more proactive about that too. Appointments, very important, you know.
And how do you see yourself bringing that grade from an incomplete into a reasonable grade?
Well, I think that I'm not afraid to speak my mind, as I think you know, and I'm willing to engage in a discussion with my fellow selectmen. You know, when you're serving on a board, one of the things you do is try and bring people around to your way of thinking about a particular issue, and that's something that I think among open-minded people is a great process and really important, and that's something I think I can do. I've spent a lot of time, as you know, listening to people. I do a lot of interviewing people, listening to them. I think I'd like to think that I've developed the skill of paying attention to what people are really saying and you know, exploring those things further, and that's a skill I think I can bring to the board.
Okay.
To help with those discussions.
Do you have a constituency? And how would you define it?
Gosh, I don't know. You know, I've been really involved in the arts world on the island, theater, music, television. I think that I guess I have a natural affinity with people that are involved in that world. We share a lot of the same concerns. I think that did you read the planning board survey results that came out?
I did.
Very eye-opening. I thought that was very eye-opening because it clearly showed that the majority of Nantucketers are concerned about growth and are concerned about not being. I think anti-growth and pro-growth are really dumb terms. You know, they're just kind of epithets that people throw at each other, and I don't. I'm not anti-growth. I'm not pro-growth. I think we need to manage the growth of the island from here on out as best as we can. And I think there's a large group of Nantucketers who agree with me there. And I would consider them my natural constituency also, because I love the uniqueness about the island. And we all see it sort of being chipped away a little bit and slipping away a little bit. I think there's a balance to be had between everyone's interests. It's in everyone's interest to keep Nantucket unique and special the way it is. It's in our financial interest, it's in our social interest, it's in the best interest of our year-round community to preserve what's unique about Nantucket and the reason we all love it here and live here, you know.
So would you say you're running on a platform?
I think there are, yeah, well, I guess so. There are some planks of a platform, I guess you could say. I think that we need to be more proactive in managing growth. The selectmen have something to say about that. The planning board obviously has a lot to say about it as well, but these are two boards that you know, share some responsibilities and decision making. I think that being a selectman too is a great sort of bully pulpit to get behind causes like managed growth and things like that. I think, again, appointments that the board makes, I think we need to be very open-minded. And not only that, I think the board needs to enthusiastically go out reach into the community and encourage people to get involved. And I think there's some of the board now, I think, is less inclined to feel that way and more inclined to think, well, if people don't care, then, you know, then they won't show up. Well, I think we need to go out and reach out to them. The budget, I think, is a really big deal. You know, it's doubled in, I don't know how many years, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, the budget's doubled. There was a time, not too long ago, when the selectmen, you know, every year when the budget came out, would sit down with the budget and go through it line by line and do the homework, do the hard work, tweak things, figure out where, you know, what maybe we can make this, put this over here and that over there this year, and you know, next thing you know, you're talking about $500,000, you know, $1 million, I don't know. But that's, I see that as a major responsibility of the selectmen, and I'm not sure that they're doing all their homework when it comes to the budget at this point. That's something I'm very interested in doing. And also, you know, frankly, I don't work for the town, and you know, and to me, it just makes common sense that if you're serving as an elected selectman, that you have a conflict of interest if you're working for the town. And that's not to impugn the motives of any town employee, because they're honest, hardworking people. But
it is a town job.
It's
in a way, isn't it?
What, being a selectman? Well, it's not being a town employee, certainly. I don't think.
I was going to ask you. So what?
It's being part of. You know, these are the selectmen are the people who negotiate contracts with town employees, and you know, I'm not tied to any part of the town financially, employment-wise. I wouldn't have to recuse myself from any decision-making processes. You know, I can be open and objective and sit in on every decision that needs to be made. And I think it's important, if you have a board of 5 people, that all 5 of them are in there and working hard on every decision that they possibly can be. So,
what about your experience?
Well, I have 29 years experience being a Nantucket resident, for one thing, and I love this community, chosen to make it my home, raise the kids here. I've been running a business, the same business now, for 10 years. And I've seen business go up and down and had to deal with the vagaries of that. And in you know, previously I've owned a restaurant, and I've worked in the trades. I had a painting business, which I'm sure you can relate to. Mm-hmm. I've had, I think, in a lot of ways, a typical Nantucket experience to a lot of people that I know. They've done a lot of things since they've been here. I moved here when I was 18 years old. So, and I'm also, you know, this government stuff. I love this stuff. I love it. I have a passion for it. You know, I go to meetings because I'm interested. You know, a lot of people look at me like, "What do you want to go to that for?" But you know, I've been to ZBA meetings and planning board meetings, and you know, I enjoy going. I enjoy seeing the process and how it works and being a part of that process. So I pay a lot of attention, and I try to be involved in the process as a citizen as much as I can. Now, this is the next step, I guess.
You mentioned growth.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I mean, I kind of get a sense of where you're coming from, but
right.
Kind of define it for us. How do you feel about the way the island's growing?
Well, I think that obviously we don't want to be hyenas. We want to be what's special about Nantucket. We have a master planning process that's starting now. Actually, it's ongoing. I would encourage everyone to go to the website and give their input to the master planning process about what they think. But there are a lot of, a lot of issues about the sewer and you know, you can't manage growth by sewer system, but you also can't deny the fact that it's going to have an effect on growth and development. So you gotta find balance everybody's needs there, and I think the master plan is a great opportunity to really clean up zoning, simplify zoning so everybody knows what's going on. You know, you go to town meeting every year and there are these zoning articles and there are these little things kind of chipping away at this and chipping away at that.
Right.
And if we take the comprehensive view, it's actually, I know I sound like some kind of wonk or something, but I find this all very exciting. You know, it's a real opportunity.
Well, didn't we have that opportunity a few years ago?
With the comp plan?
Yeah.
Yes, and they did a lot of really good work, and that's work that we need to...
Is that coming back around?
Well, I think that's work we need to refer back to. You know, we have, you know, there have been studies paid for by the town, you know, about the sewer, about finances, about and you know, the comprehensive plan. These are things we need to be referring to and looking at. I mean, if we've got the information, let's use it. And I think I like to hear. I've been hearing Mr. Vorse, the planner, you know, referring to the comprehensive plan and the sort of vision that was contained in that, and that's very encouraging to hear. So yeah, I think it's been an ongoing process, and we've been having this conversation for a long time, but it's really starting to come to a head now.
What areas do you see us concentrating our growth on?
Well, I mean, I agree with the concept of town and country,
Right.
that we should have town areas and country areas. And
So that means,
that basically means if you're going to increase density, you sort of increase it where it already is and where there's already infrastructure to support that density, and where there's already open space, you want to zone and plan to keep it that way. It's perfectly common sense to me to do things that way. Absolutely.
so how do you feel about keeping chain stores out of town?
I support Wendy's article. I think it's smart. It's well written. Wendy is a pretty smart person, and she did a lot of hard work on this. Other towns have done it, and I think it's in keeping with what we're talking about, you know, the spirit of the island kind of chipping away and slipping away a little bit here and there, and what can we do to protect it? Her article really only pertains to a very small area right in the core district, and I don't think that I think it's a perfectly reasonable concept to want to keep big chains out of the core district. You know, keep locally based and locally owned businesses here. You know, where the money goes back into the community.
All right, what else? What else would you like to add to these last few moments?
Well, as you know, I have another warrant article about noise on the warrant. The Finance Committee, I was trying to get the hour for making noise in the morning changed from 7 to 8 in the morning. I got a lot of support from people I didn't expect from, even. I mean, just plain folks thought it was a great idea. I did talk a lot to, you know, builders and people who tend to be out working at that hour of the day and generating some noise. And the FinCom came back with a compromise and said, let's say 7:30. Let's call it 7:30 and see how it goes. They gave that a positive recommendation, and I will be behind that at the town meeting. I think the article for the town to contract with a television station to film videotape meetings and put them on the air is really good. It's kind of a bridge to when we renegotiate our contract with the cable company, which is next year. I think the last negotiation I don't think was done very well. This negotiation, we can get the funds from the cable company to allow us to pay for this after that. But between now and then, I think with everything that's going on in the town government, I think it's really important. The more information people have, and the more sort of unadulterated, raw information they have, the better able they are to make decisions. You know.
All right. Well, is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you want to say to people? Or?
Sure. I mean, I don't have all the answers. I'm willing to say that. I do really want to see that the right questions are asked, though, in a lot of these decision-making processes, and that's something I intend to do. You know, I've got the time to do the job. I've got the energy to do the job. I've got a passion for government, and I would ask Nantucketers for their vote. How's that?
That sounds perfect.
All right?
Yep.
Good. And I'll be all over the place. I have a blog. Can I talk about that?
Sure, of course.
It's www.michaelkopko.com. And you can go there and discuss stuff with us. I'm going to be out and about. I'll be at the Scalpers Ball on Thursday. That's going to be really fun. Candidates night on Friday.
Well, this is going to
Pacific
play
League.
for quite a while, so
Great.
you might. What are those dates? Just in case
Yeah,
somebody
the Scalpers
misses it.
Ball is this Thursday, which I
Okay,
guess is
which
the
you-
23rd.
They
Yeah.
probably missed that.
But I'm always out and about. You know, my email address, michael@nantucket.net. My telephone number, 508-325-2174. I'm always, as you know, happy to talk to anybody about anything, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I love
you
to do.
You definitely are a very approachable guy.
Yeah, and I think I'm a fairly easygoing kind of guy, but I'm real serious about this. I want to get to work and I want to make a difference.
Terrific.
Thanks
All
for
the best
having
to
me.
you, Mike.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you
buddy.
very much.
You take good care.
All right, how do I get out?
Oh,
Just
you
push there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got it. That's easy.
All right.
See you, Mike.
All right, Gino,
Take care.
take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.